What's up, everybody? It's your boy Adrian Nyce. Welcome to another episode of Mouthin Out. I'm here with a familiar face who was probably on, I'll probably say like one of my first 10 episodes of our 300 episodes that we did this year. 300, we were going crazy. Right now I'm here with
Atticus Lane
in the building. We are at Audio Box, the world famous Audio Box, home of the baby and other familiar faces. You see, they just graffiti style painted the wall, so it's the new. Yeah, this is an immaculate place. Yeah, it's dope. It's a dope spot, man. You never know who you'll run into here. So, thank you for joining us today. How has Corona 2020 been so far?
Do you remember that platform NC show that you did back in like March? It was
something on the rise or something like
that. It was something like that. It was the one they had a bunch of artists. I know Eugenius was there, Other Mike was there, and you had the booth. It was like 321 Lounge, I think. And you had the booth where you were doing, like 15-minute artist interviews. Like when they got off stage, you were just running them through.
30.
I watched that live stream that you posted on the YouTube like the other day because I was looking for that interview with Eugenius. And I remember kind of crashing that interview and telling you that we were going to go on a tour. I had a whole tour booked from like Charlotte down through, not Charlotte, Chicago, all the way down through. We were going to go to Vegas. And Corona just killed that.
Dang. How many like shows or venues would you say y'all have planned out? 10?
Still up in the air. There was one of them that was still up in the air, but it was Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City, Denver. Then we're going to go to Colorado Springs, come down through Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, and then I was going to come back up through like St. George, play another show in Denver, and come home.
Dang, bro. And Corona was just like, fuck, F y'all.
Absolutely took that away from me, and ever since then I've been like a lost puppy.
So you were planning this tour, and the goal of this tour was to...
Well, the goal of the tour was to really get out in front of a new audience. I've kind of got this like spiderweb philosophy that a lot of people have. It's just networking, but there was this really awesome girl in the Greensboro hip-hop scene. She went by Mag Dog for a while. She's a very talented artist now. She's really cool. You should check her out. She goes by Maggie Lee now.
In the building, check her out.
But I remember when I broke ground and cut my teeth in Greensboro, she was coming to every show. She was shaking hands and meeting everybody she could possibly meet and just trying to get her foot in the door, get her name out there. She would share everybody's stuff, and I was like, there's at least one of her in every scene. So the whole purpose of it was to go meet, that person in Chicago, to go meet that person in Kansas City, because that is the start of establishing yourself in those scenes. But if you're in Charlotte and you start to establish yourself in other scenes, that's just growth, There's only so many times you can play the same venue locally.
Hell yeah.
Out of it.
Same people.
Exactly. And that's no disrespect to anybody that's doing it as like a weekend warrior or anything like that, but I'm 24 now.
Think outside the box.
Yeah. But I'm 24 now, and I really I want to give it a real shot and a real push to go take it somewhere. And I feel like I've made a lot of correct moves. I know for a fact I've made a hell of a lot of incorrect moves, but you can never take anything back, so it's all about pushing forward, and that's kind of where we were going with it, but unfortunately.
So let me ask you this. COVID shut down the tours. How do you feel about these virtual concerts that people are doing right now?
I love it. I love it when it's really well prepared. I've done one virtual show so far. There's a studio that's reestablishing itself in Taylorsville, North Carolina. It's a little bit north of here. They're called Top Heavy Productions, and they work in conjunction with a band that I've played with, Home for the Day. And they have specifically tailored their new studio and live space. They wanted to have a house show venue space. And they have now, in the process of building it, completely tailored it to be live stream ready.
That's dope.
And it's really, really cool. And we're talking right now, me and a couple of the guys from the old Goat City clique from Greensboro, Enoch, Nazir Ali, etc.
In the building.
We're talking about putting on a really, really in-depth and really focused live stream show, because you go live and you play your shit. And that's great. It's a perfect emulation of a live performance. But I really think that it could bolster our creativity and enhance, our own mind, especially now that we've got all these superpowers. Now that's December 21st. But I really feel like taking the show to a whole new level. We're thinking about doing something kind of akin to like Saturday Night Live, with a lot more focus on music, of course, but transitions and skits in between, stuff like that, making it a full show that doesn't stop until it's over.
Facts. So, okay, so the goal of your first tour was basically to, not first tour, but the one you was planning was basically to, see new faces, meet new people, rub elbows. So with this, if we say we do set up a virtual concert or multiple virtual concerts, how can we still accomplish that goal? Or do you have a new goal? I guess because it's a different, you're not moving state to state, I guess.
Very true. I think the one trade-off and the one benefit that you get with a virtual concert that you don't normally, and I say normally because I haven't seen a lot of us doing it. I think it would be something when concerts come back to benefit off of, but finally a lot of us independent underground artists are starting to get like pro shot footage, which is, it's very hard to get. I've played a couple of bigger festivals, still none of them were shot. And
it's live stream, it's like dead on.
We've all got live performances of our songs that are, for the most part, they're YouTube ready. You could take them and make a live album with it, do whatever, but you've got this extra little bit of content that you may not have had before that's actually a little bit better quality than it would have been if it was just somebody turning their phone to the side in the crowd. I think there's silver linings and there's positives to pull out of this. And I think the coronavirus, as it pertains to especially hip-hop artists and any musician in general, it's really pushed us to sort of expand and elaborate on our own content possibilities. Because before, it was just kind of rinse and repeat. You make some music, you shoot a video, whether you pay to get your video done or you do it with your phone. I ran around naked, and I did that off of Samsung Galaxy, and release the song, put the video out, push it for 2 months, release the song, put the video out, push it for 2 months. Maybe you put out an EP or a tape. But now with everybody doing, virtual shows, it's kind of given us a little bit more, a little bit of like steroids into our creativity. And I like that. I think it's going to continue once the coronavirus is over.
Will the coronavirus ever be over?
Yeah. People, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the internet being so big that it feels stronger, but this is just Y2K.
I agree.
This is just SARS. This is our generation. This is this decade's buzzword. Dude, early 2000s, they didn't call it this www.web, blah, blah, blah.com, it's just, and not to demean it or downplay it, because the coronavirus.
Do you think it's real?
Absolutely.
So you had your mask on, so I guess you do.
Absolutely. There is a church nearby where I live, about an hour south of here, that they didn't think it was real.
Really?
And there's like 150 person outbreak. And last night, one of my brother's elementary school teachers that went to that church, she passed away from it.
Wow. I bet you they think it's real now.
Honestly, with some of these idiots, I don't know. But it is real. I'm sorry to say. It's very real, and it needs to be taken seriously, because I want to play a show again.
Facts. Okay, next question. Are you taking the vaccine?
Yeah, absolutely.
You are? Yeah. You trust the vaccine?
I'll be one of the people to take it if they'll put me on TV.
So even though we done had some people that's taking it, one girl, she fainted from it. They took it, she was on live TV, and she fainted. That has happened on live TV. You still?
Absolutely.
You better wait like a couple of thousand people after us.
Nah,
They got it right.
nah, I'll be fine. According to that woman, now excuses are excuses, but according to that woman, she doesn't handle high pressure situations well. I think being on live TV, taking a coronavirus vaccine, that's a high pressure situation. Also, when's the last time you got like a shot?
Me, I have never. The only time, let me see. Shoot, man, it's been a while.
I'll tell you about when I got my tetanus shot when I was in 6th grade. Now, granted, I was a 6th grader. I didn't pass out, but I didn't last long, and I don't think I made it home in the car. I went straight to sleep. When you take something like that, your body's like, whoa, easy now. I'm not surprised you passed out. I'm really not surprised you passed out. Especially, dude, I mean, she's
What a bad time to pass out, though, when you're trying to introduce a new.
completely agree. I completely agree on that. I watched that and I was like, damn, 3 more months of not having a show.
Facts, man. So say Corona doesn't lessen up. Are we just going to say fuck it and then just go do a tour anyway?
I'm not.
No.
No, I think that sets a bad precedent.
Well, what if you're still able to do no, like what if they're just spaced out like social distance? Like maybe it's like a not like a million or not million thousands people concert. Maybe it's just like 50 people, intimate. They're all spread out or table.
I would do something like that. I would do. I mean,
Not like
yeah, no, I would do something like that. I'm not gonna put my. I'm not gonna be dumb. But if I walk in there and it's okay, that's 6 feet, that's 6 feet, that's 6 feet. Everybody's wearing masks. There's not like some jackass, Yeah, absolutely. I'd absolutely play that wholeheartedly. I think one thing that could be even more beneficial is to still tour and do shows virtually from different venues and different spots, like you said.
I was
It doesn't have to change. You just make your venue more technologically accessible.
exactly.
And that's not going to do anything but benefit you later on.
So okay, so I had same idea, something similar. But my question is, how can you make it? So okay, normally you go to a venue in a different state. Your selling point for being there, et cetera, et cetera. They get, you get your ticket sold, but they buy beer, et cetera, et cetera. So how can you make it beneficial to the other venues? Because I'm sure these venues, like as an example, say we're streaming to their Facebook page. They have accumulated this certain audience or whatever in that state, which would make it beneficial to you. How can you make it beneficial to the venue to do something like this with you?
Honestly, there could be. I haven't really thought about that. That's a great question, but there could be some form of advertisement or some form of networking almost that could set up advertising. And I know basically that's just a television network, but it's true. It could totally.
Because
Go ahead.
Because like with our software, we can show commercials or whatever. So I was thinking maybe we could get somehow the venue can sell commercial spots or something like that, or donate.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and what it would end up degenerating into just a new form of television with TV networks, et cetera, et cetera. But for the time being, having somebody with an audience that could plug a smaller, maybe even like, okay, so on Twitch, say everybody does Twitch. On Twitch, you can host other channels. Well, if there's a person with a big audience that is willing to turn their Twitch audience into a network and say, hey, I'm hosting the Skylark off of Central Avenue. They're having a live stream show with this band, this band, and this band at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to host it on here. And it's going to generate X amount of thousand viewers. And they could sell advertising in the middle of that and say, hey, so this Twitch channel is going to get my viewership, and they're going to see this. This is the advertising from it. Like, that could be the circle of profit.
So we just got to get the people to understand that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, dude, starting something from scratch is the hardest thing you'll ever do. I know you understand that, dude.
Definitely.
It's impossible. It seems like an impossible task, but it's doable if we all kind of do our part. And artists continue to do artist things, but think, like you said earlier, think about outside the box. I think everybody. The beautiful thing, and I've kind of reiterated a couple of times about the coronavirus, is it's allowed us to embrace our imagination.
Fact.
And continuing to embrace that imagination is only going to help us long after the coronavirus.
Facts. I agree, man. So okay, let's jump into some music. So man, I think our interview was back either in March. No, it was before March, February. So what's new? What new music have you dropped since then? Singles, EPs, mixtapes, albums, anything new?
Um, so back when we thought the coronavirus would end in a month, I kind of held off on the album that I had sort of sitting there. It wasn't done, but it was done. It was like I could have released it at any point, but I still kept changing stuff and adding stuff. But I released. I had an album 2 years ago now called "There's Nothing Wrong with Me." It was a part one from when it was released. I knew I was going to follow it up, and I released part two back in September. I think it was September 3rd or something like that. And those songs performed very well. They did very well. They were well received. But unfortunately, not being able to play shows, that was my main source of advertisement and generating support for new music. So I feel like it took quite a hit from that, but at the same time, it was also my best performing album by like 4 times. So I'm not complaining. In the meantime, basically after our interview, it was like February 26th, I want to say our interview was, and then about 3 weeks later, the coronavirus hit. And me and the people that I run a studio with, we kind of just hold down, and when they started that really intensive quarantine.
Oh yeah.
Like
y'all can't walk outside.
Yeah, when they started that really intensive quarantine, we kind of just got in the studio and just like lived together for about a month. And I started writing some new songs. And over time, like I wrote a song here and then I wrote a song there, and I would go and record the whole thing in a day. And I was like, these are the best songs I've ever written. Like not like I'm never confident in my music, and I'll be the first to admit, like if you listen to a lot of the music that I've released, you're like, okay, this is different, and that's not always the best way.
So do you think it just you felt like they were better songs because you were like more focused in the studio, or just like
I have no idea. They came out of nowhere.
they?
What my bandmate said. He was like, I don't know where the hell is this coming from out of you, because I finally I figured out how to write the like pop punk songs that I want to write. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's like I never considered the music that I made to be like hip hop beats. Like there was a lot of hip hop influence, but I started making these beats that were what I always wanted to rap on since I started. And I've never heard anybody make music like that except for, the few artists that I look up to. And I started making these beats, and I was like, dude, this is like, it's poppy, it's fun. I don't make fun. I make music to cry to. And like I started making, I started making like this fun music, and fast forward March to now is like 9 months. I've got like a 17-song hip hop album that's sniffing the door. Like it's almost out.
Ready.
A 4-track. I've been calling it pop punk EP, but it's 4-track pop punk EP, and then after that, like singles, I've got another sort of alternative, more emo EP that I want to think about later in the year, but those songs are, ready for the master recordings. They're all demoed out. And then sprinkled in throughout is like, I've got like this beat and these lyrics for it and this beat and this chorus, and it's like these songs are all ready to go. And the only reason I'm not working on them is because like I'm polishing this one thing up right quick. As soon as I get done with this, I'm going to go finish that. And
on to the next thing.
And it's been such a free-form creative process that like I know I'm going to sit down and I know I'm going to hammer this out like in an hour. I'm going to get the creative part of that out in an hour, and then when I finally get time, I'm going to go over to our studio with a whiteboard with like 10 things written on it. I swear, there's like 10 things written on it. I've gotten all of them done in a day.
That's good.
I've never been like that. I've always been the person that spends,
superpowers.
But I'll sit down like 8 hours on one song and just kind of think and hammer it out. But like the stuff is just flowing out of me, and I'm super grateful for it because I went through from like 2016 to early 2019 before I released my first album. I wrote like 6 songs, and it was just it wasn't that I wasn't going through anything. It was just I did not know how to put how I felt on paper, and I finally translated it and figured it out. And it seems like ever since then, but especially within the last 9 months, the creative process has just been massive.
You just found your flow. You're in your flow. You found your flow. You found workflow. And it's just use it. Goddamn.
Hey, I'm not stopping because it's gonna go away at some point. And I'm gonna be like,
Use it.
but no, it's been an incredible 9 months. It's been a very educational 9 months as well. I've really figured out some things about the process that I didn't used to know, and I don't know. Every day's learning.
So last time we talked, if I remember correctly, you said you had management, or you just you left management. That's what it was. So now we with new management, new manager. Are we still solo dolo?
Solo, but there are a few things on the horizon. They're more so that little feeling that you get, but every time I've ever gotten that feeling was like playing high school football, and it's like I'm gonna score a touchdown the next play. I score a touchdown the next play. I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna be the best artist at this show, and you execute. There's just like this weird like rumbling that I feel like something very positive is gonna happen, and I'm very, very open and willing to go to any kind of new management that is beneficial and executable. I've met and sort of recertified connections with a few people that I feel like are really beneficial. I talked to the other day. I don't know if you remember like that. I don't know if you remember that like Dat Piff era of hip hop.
Definitely, everybody was on Dat Piff.
Like it was like Logic, Cole, and the Wayne put out 1 million tapes on Dat Piff, and Chance came up on Dat Piff, and it was such an interesting time. Do you remember XV? He was really nerdy.
Maybe.
Very nerdy. He did a stream the other night, and on Twitch, he was playing like Final Fantasy VII. I just started talking to him in the chat, and this was a dude I looked up to in high school. He's like one of my low key heroes, and we just started talking about the process, and it led to like a really long conversation. He followed me on IG. We've talked about doing a song.
Damn, that's dope.
Little things like that are like, okay, it's a conversation. All it is a conversation away, and I don't know if it's because of the coronavirus or whatever, but I don't know. I just
use it. Use it.
I feel like a storm brewing, and it's very
that's good.
Storm, it feels like a storm, and I'm not
go with the flow.
Yeah, I'm not somebody on the sea. It's like I'm Poseidon. I'm gonna take.
Hey, I like that. I like that mindset. That's what's up. Go with it.
For sure. I'm gonna cut you off. What's this move looking like?
I mean, we lived there 2019, all 2019. So it's basically just me going back, following up on my contacts. But, it'll be a little different now because of Corona and stuff like that, because shit's shut down over there. Like, we visited in November, and, I mean, it's kind of just like this. News makes it worse than it actually is. But so I'm going to be in L.A. I'm going to try to be around, like, the Hollywood, Koreatown, downtown LA area, that whole area, and I'm gonna just try to get bigger interviews. We're looking for management in the agency, just to kind of take the show to the next level, up our quality and stuff like that. Partner with the actual production studio that already has the equipment and stuff like that.
I'm a professional. How far is that away from you?
What part of L? She's
going to LA on the 30th.
What part of LA? Hollywood. Oh yeah, that's right there. It's probably like from Koreatown. It's like 15 minutes, and then downtown LA it's like 20, 30 minutes.
That's dope.
Hollywood's right in the middle, bro.
For sure. I can't wait to go out there. I've talked a lot about going out there.
We got a link.
I wanted to go out there, sort of after all this. So there was that initial tour that I talked about. There was a string of 5 shows that I wanted to do in the Southeast. I talked with another rapper about doing shows with him in the Northeast. And then once I had talked about that, I was like, why don't I just go to the West Coast? Why not just kid it all? And one of my friends, he was in a band with me, and now I kind of like lightly produce. I do more mixing and engineering for his band. Kareth, he's from out there. And the first band that he was in is called As Empires Fall, and they're from Southern California. And he sort of every year takes a trip out there, and I was like, shit, I'll just hop on a plane with him and book some shows, and we'll cruise up, and he'll hang out with his old band members, and we'll travel like they used to, and it'll be a good time. But yeah, no, I gotta come out there and see y'all.
Come out. We'll shoot some stuff, shoot some content, connect you. Everything's out there, bro. You've never been out there, right? Bro, everything is out there. Everything's 30 from Hollywood. Everything's like 30 minutes away. The mountains, 30 minutes away. You got the beach, 30 minutes away.
Yeah,
You got the desert, 30 minutes away. Everything.
You're a couple of minutes from everything. It's kind of a good variety. That's dope.
Everything. That's why it's Hollywood. You know, everything. Okay. Okay, management. We haven't yet found management. But so just say some managers, label execs, A&Rs, anybody on that side realm of things. So they are looking. What are some things that you're looking for management or for those type of people? What are some things that you're looking for in those type of people? Qualities, characteristics.
Mostly just personability and close collaboration. You know, I don't want anybody to look at me. And one of the biggest, I'll say, issues, it wasn't an issue, it was just a misinterpretation of who I was. With the last people that I was with, I don't think they understood how headstrong and much of the forefront I wanted to be of my own destiny. And at first there, it was kind of just like an order here and an order there. And I was like, no, I want to move. Like, let's go. Let's do this. I want to be, the arbiter of my own fate. And I just, what I most would look forward to with working with somebody is personability. Like, are you my friend? And I know,
You got my best interests at heart.
yeah, and I know they say not to work with family, not to work with friends, anything like that. But, am I going to dap you up at the end of the day, or are you just, some honky sitting at the end of a desk just looking down with your glasses at the contract? Like, okay, you're going to do this and then. Like, are you my friend? Are you my close collaborator? Can I trust you with, creative sort of advice and stuff like that? Can I come to you as an advisor? And, just that collaboration that, like, we're going to sit down and we're going to figure out, okay, well, why doesn't the Firebird in St. Louis work? Why do we have to go to what other venue if we're planning a tour going to St. Louis? Who are we talking to in there? I want that person that's going to sit up at 3 o'clock in the morning with literally just a dossier of files that we've compiled.
Someone that's going to outwork you.
Yeah, well, compete me. You ain't going.
But I mean, you get what I'm saying, though.
If they outworked me, I'd love to work with them. That's the kind of mindset, and that's that kind of competitive creativity that I like out of the hip hop scene, and even the bands too. And as far as management, yeah, absolutely. I would love to be so, like, hardworking that it's almost competitive between us, because you can't stop that.
What about labels? Are you trying to get signed?
I would love to get signed. There are 3 labels.
Let's name drop.
Love to get signed. Well, I mean, Rhymesayers for one. I feel like Rhymesayers, based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, would not only have my best interests at heart, respect my creativity. They know my trajectory. Their trajectory mirrors what I've been doing. And it's kind of interesting. I used to listen to them when I was growing up, the whole label from Atmosphere on down. And it just, even from an age like 13 or 14 years old, it was like what they were talking about, might not have even understood it so much as I just related to it. It's like I felt the things that they were talking about. It was so human. It wasn't ever like I was listening to a song. It was more so like I was listening to, like, my dad sort of tell me a story and be like, yeah, I get you. I get what you're going through, very relatable. And, that would be home. If I could, just kick it with those guys, that would be home.
Who's your number 2?
Number 2 is sort of a more mixed bag. I say 3, but it's like number 2 and number 3. There may even be a number 4 that's wrapped in there. Maybe like a Fueled by Ramen, but something like a Hopeless Records or a Rise Records, that they're willing to sign young talent and they're very open to working with people. And I feel like I've always felt like most of the trouble that people had with labels and whatnot was a product of their own laziness and misinterpretation. Everybody talks about, oh, that's just an advance. That's not how much money you make out of it. My mindset is, okay, you give me a $5 million advance to make a couple albums, I'm gonna give you $15 million back.
Flip it.
I can make $15 million with $5 million. That's, you know what I mean? And that's been my mindset about that the whole time. Is people act, and they do. You don't get me wrong. Suits fuck over artists all the time.
Facts.
Suits fuck over anybody they can fuck over. But at the same time, I want to bring a mindset, a creativity, and a work ethic that, like, all right, yeah, come on, try fuck me over. I'm gonna bend you over and spank your ass. Like,
So you welcome it, basically.
I'm open to anything. I'm open to any kind of offer, anything, because the one thing that would benefit me now is eyes. I used to be able to go out to shows and get a couple of new eyes every time I did that, and it's much harder to do that now.
Facts.
One eyes. Anybody that can put some more eyes towards me. I've always been the kind of person that would, if you give me an opportunity, not only to prove to you that I can, but I want to prove to myself. It's a challenge to me, I've always kind of had that mindset in life.
Have we thought at all about relocating from Charlotte? We were just talking about, different places.
Yes, the coronavirus put a hamper in that too.
Where would you like to go? Now might be the best time, actually. Everything's low. Rent, all types.
The only reason I don't want to, well, it's not the only reason, but there's a string of reasons that are all connected. With how long we've been out of it, I want another run around here. I want to bam, 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 hit the spots around here.
Use that to kind of.
I want to tour before I leave here. I want to see all the I just want to swipe the map, tackle all of it, get a tour, have that data to show people, like, here's what I did by myself as sort of a presentable, here's what we may be able to do with more resources and help. If I'm support on a tour or something like that, here's what I may be able to bring to the table because I've already toured myself and I know this amount of people in this area. If you put me with, I opened for a guy back in January. His name's Dying and Designer. I'm not putting him on blast, but it wasn't the biggest show.
When was this? Right before.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he signed a Hopeless. I think that his label would have done better if they had, put a little bit more research into the area and put a little bit more research into the openers and stuff like that. And that's kind of what I would be coming to everyone else with. Here's data and here's a battle plan. I've done a lot of legwork for you. You can double check me like a teacher and say, okay, here's what you did wrong.
How can we amplify this?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of my plan. Once we get open back up, once I can make that run, once I can collect myself and figure out where I am, where I need to go, once I can have a direction, basically, because especially right now with me, I'm not stuck in a rut. I'm creatively, flourished. I'm ready to play shows. The area is not dry anymore. The area is ready to go. It's just a matter of us getting past the coronavirus.
Facts.
Once I dig myself back, once I get everything I can, it is time to move. I'd like to move to Minnesota. I'd like to move to somewhere hot. I'd love to move to New York. I visited New York a couple of years ago, and it was
New York's nice.
one of the best experiences of my life.
Wait until you see Cali.
I know. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
Until you
I've wanted to move to San Diego.
San Diego
has its roots in a really, really hot punk scene that a lot of my influences are from, and I would love to go down there and like try to hit up Soma and play the side stage of Soma. That'd be awesome. That would be fucking dream come true if I could play the side stage of Soma. I don't even have to play the big stage. Give me the side stage. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I've thought a little bit about it. When I was younger, I really wanted to give Seattle a shot. I felt like there could be a home out there for me.
There's a lot of creative stuff going on over there.
It's got a very strong history with, the Seattle grunge movement in the late 80s and 90s. And there's still a bunch of creativity out there. I don't know. I really want to try Minnesota.
One last tour, one last touch in different places, and then we're definitely moving somewhere. Definitely moving somewhere.
Okay, maybe I'll change my plan, but that's kind of my desires at the moment. Is I just want to kind of clean up loose ends before I go try to tackle the final boss. You know what I mean?
Facts. I ain't mad at that one bit. That makes sense to me. That way, everybody on this side of the states can be tapped in with you on your journey wherever you go. Um, okay, that's awesome. Um, so 2021, what's the first thing that's happening? 2021, what's the first thing that's happening?
Well, actually, literally the first thing that's happening is I'm going live with Top Heavy Productions and a band of mine called Duckbeak, doing a New Year's stream. It's going to be a blast. I already know it's going to be a blast. We've had our first few rehearsals in a long while, and we all still got it. And it's such a great time, and I'm excited to get a guitar in my hand and get a microphone in front of me, sing, even if it is a live stream. I'm ready to play some loud music. But after that, I've got an album that I'm working on. Like I told you, a 17-song hip-hop album.
Do we have a name for that?
Sasha Winters.
Sasha Winters. Where does that come from?
Years ago, my friend Garrett, I want to say this originated back in 2013 when I was still in high school. He hit me up one day and was like, hey, can you name a album after that porn star Sasha Winters? And there's no porn star named Sasha Winters. I think he was talking about Sasha Grey. But regardless, ever since then, it's been a joke. And we've always joked like we knew what it was going to sound like and what the songs were going to be. We were just waiting on the right time to make it. You know, we wanted the opening track to be a Sasha Winterlude. Like it was like a story.
That's funny as hell.
It was like a story that wrote itself. And then sure enough, like I'm making all these beats and I'm like, this is Sasha Winters. This is fucking Sasha Winters. And I make this one beat and I'm writing over it. And it's like a solid 24 bar. It's like a Ain't No Sunshine sample. Yeah. You know, the same kind of thing that DMX did, but it's different. I didn't go straight for the same kind of thing. It's got a different vibe to it. And it's like I'm listening to this. I'm like, well, this is the intro track. And I'm like, I don't have a title. It's Sasha Winters.
Sasha Winters. Right, so we got Sasha Winters, 17 songs. How many?
17 tracks. There's at least one skit with a lot of skits in between. I don't know if it's going to be... Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like... If many of them are going to have their own track, but I know there's a lot of taglines from my own live shows. Like, for instance, one of the songs, I did a show in Greensboro a couple of Halloweens ago, and I was talking about a song, and I was like, I wanted it to be something really emotional and a part of myself, and there's this girl in the back goes, we love you, and I was like, but it didn't really go over too well, and it just cuts to the next song, and it's like just these clips of funny things that we've said on stage over the years is like just... It's just a fun album. There's a lot of serious topics.
That's dope.
I wrote a song called Suicide Watch, and it's just like a you know when you're like, I'm just gonna go home and kill myself today. You just say it like sarcastically. It's nothing but a big sarcastic like I'm gonna kill myself. There's all different kind of stuff. Like it's a lot less about just the contemporary song stuff and more about mundane, like we're artists and we play shows and these things happen at shows and I'm just kind of telling stories,
I understand 100%. I understand 100%. So Sasha Winters, 17 tracks. You said that's dropping. Don't have a date.
Look, when it's done, I'm not gonna play pansy.
Are we going to get it like first quarter, like before spring, which is like April before April?
January when we can.
So January we get a month.
I want to go every month. I want to go every month.
Wow, that's dope.
I've released I released 19 songs over the last 4 years. I want to release music.
Time to crank them out.
I want to release music so I can get to some more music.
Facts.
If I do end up having to stop this for, the sake of growing up, as they say, I want to leave as big of a footprint as I possibly can. I don't want to think too much on it. I just want to express more and feel more. After Sasha Winters, I'm going to... I haven't told anybody this, but I'm going to release a lost video for my song Coca-Cola that I put out years ago. It's probably, as far as the scenes go around here, it's the more well-known song of mine. And we shot a video for it, and when I went to edit it years ago, I didn't have a whole lot of footage, and I didn't know if it was maybe the footage just didn't turn out well. I just didn't think I had enough. Went back into the drive, it's all there. It just wouldn't download for whatever reason. So I'm gonna put out a lost video for it, to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of that album, as well as to sort of promote and push. I'm gonna get Atticus Lane shirts that are sort of parody of Coca-Cola. They're gonna be red with Atticus in the Coca-Cola font and Lane in that, that like standard little Coke where it's got the period. Lane is gonna be in that font. They're really cool. I'm gonna sort of go balls out. I'm not gonna give you like Hanes beefy tea or like a Gildan Fruit of the Loom.
Some decent quality.
Very fashionable, very comfortable. But I'm gonna put out that lost video to sort of promote that. And then as we get into March, etc., I think a friend of mine has this song. He's a really cool little like SoundCloud rapper out of Greensboro, or no, he's out of Winston-Salem. Sorry, his name's Your Local Punk, and he asked me to do a song with him. He sent it to me. It was really cool. He actually performed his part of the song the first night I ever met him, which was like
Damn.
years ago. And then he sends me the song. I was like, I've heard this before. He's like, yeah, I performed this the night we met. I was like, that's cool. So I did a part of him with him for that. We are going to shoot a video for it. I don't know when we're going to release it, but the way that time has been moving, it's looking like that may be the March promotion. As we get into spring break, if stuff's opened up, I do have plans for an EP that's more pop punk focused. I'm sort of splitting, like I merged sort of rock and hip hop for a while. And now I'm kind of seeing how much I could do just straight up the rock music, like the alternative rock music that I grew up on, how much of that I can do just kind of honest to itself. And then I'm kind of going back to like, I want to spit. Like I want some, give me an MPC and a sample. And
But on top of it, vibe.
I just want to tell some story. Like I've played so many shows and I met so many people and seen so many things. And like, I feel like I got something to say for the first time in a long time. None of it's forced, and none of it is like, I want to write a song about this kind of thing. It's, I want to write a song about this kind of thing that happened to me. And I think that's part of why it's coming out so quickly. So at least on the lyrical side, it's all impulsive, and there's a lot of pulse. And
Ready to express. Just get it out, man.
then after that, it's a little hazy, but I would not mind just a May, June, July, just as much as I can do, whether it be, June, I've got, whatever promotion, like we get back to playing shows and like, okay, here's 5 shows in June, something like that. But I kind of want to just push something every month and give myself
Momentum,
but more so a goal. I feel like I work best when there's something to achieve and I know what's at stake. I know what I want, and I can just go grab that brass ring in a way,
I'm the same way. Goal oriented. I need to see it. Works better that way rather than, or else I'll just shrug it off sometimes or think about it, but just not always execute appropriately. All right, so let's hop into our last segment before we get out of here, called One Piece of Advice. One piece of advice. Okay, what I'd like for you to do is, you said you're 24? I want you to give one piece of advice to 21-year-old you. 21-year-old you, what would you tell yourself? What were you doing back then? Where were you? Give one piece of advice to that guy.
When I turned 21, I started playing my first regular shows about 4 months after that. So I was okay. Can I change the prompt a little bit?
Explain.
Okay, so I think I've had a solid upward climb. Like I think I started walking forward and standing up at about 21. I don't know if I would tell myself anything different. I think if I could go back to when I was 18, I would say, okay, you didn't have a lot of help with your parents, but take your refund check that you're getting from college. Seriously, I'd say take your refund check that you're getting from college and go get a car. Legit. I would tell myself to go get a car and to start, 18-year-old me, start playing shows. Because if you think, if I started at a solid uphill climb at 18 and got to where I am now at 21, that would have bought myself 3 years.
Years, yeah. That's what everybody, yes.
And that's what
We don't be thinking about it back then.
exactly. Well, you're a kid, and
Yeah.
you're scared of people, and I wasn't scared of people. I was scared to put myself around people. If I could tell myself, hey, just put yourself around people that one time, get that first show under your belt, because I didn't play my first show until I was 20. I think I was 2 or 3 months away from playing 20, and then I started playing regularly. And I turned 20. My birthday's in October, so I turned 20 in October. I started playing shows regularly the next February. So, when I played my first show, if I'd have played my first show at 18 and then started playing regularly at 19, like there's that's 2 years bought, So
Experience.
yeah, and so I think if I could give my younger self any advice, I'd say 21, just keep doing what you're doing because you're learning and you're growing at the right pace. If I could say 18, 19, something like that, I'd say, hey, get off your ass. Stop worrying so much about the music. The music's going to come. The music will come. You know when the music will come? When you get off your ass.
Just go fucking do it.
You go into the world because, dude, you got nothing. You have seen nothing. You played football in high school. You didn't go to parties. You didn't have friends. And I know you've talked about not having friends, but now it's time to grow up just a tad bit. Go out and play some shows, meet some people, and have some life experiences because you're not going to do anything wrong if you forget your words. It's a ha-ha moment if you make it. I've forgotten words before. I've made a joke.
Worse are things that could happen.
Just shit happens. You get lost in the moment, or you're just an idiot, didn't rehearse enough. And if you're an idiot and didn't rehearse enough, you should laugh at yourself, tell the audience that, and tell them to
Use it, yeah.
boo at you. And then when they boo, you'll get a bigger reaction than anybody else in the crowd, everybody else that stands on stage that night. So if I had a piece of advice to give myself when I was younger, just get your ass out and play shows, because I know you're worried about music. I know you're worried about nothing good ever happens and trying to make that little EP as beautiful as you could possibly make it. But get your ass out.
Get up.
Get up.
Get up. Do it. I hope y'all listen.
Seriously, I mean, if you know Adrian and you're like 18, 19, 20 years old, something like that, I know you can't get up and play shows now, but don't think that you have to have this debut. Like, you don't. Because no disrespect, no offense, nobody cares. That's not a knock on you. That's just, there's 3 million artists on Reverb Nation.
Yeah. 7 billion people in the world.
People are is putting their music on streaming platforms now. It's standard to have your music on streaming platforms, especially as you get to that 18, 19, 20-year-old part of being an artist. And I think just put yourself out there. Know that you're going to fail. If you know that you're going to fail, then you're going to be prepared to learn and gain from that. And just like I said, just put yourself out there. Do not think it has to be a big debut. Don't think you've got to knock it out of the park like your favorite artist, because what your favorite artist Wikipedia page doesn't show is all the crap that they put out beforehand that they deleted right when their first song started taking off and they got a little bit of a fan base.
Anybody can edit Wikipedia. Boom.
Exactly. Anybody can edit Wikipedia. I was reading somebody's Wikipedia page today. I don't know who it was. I got in an argument with somebody about something political, and I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
You're stupid. Ah.
You're a scumbag.
That's funny as I might do that to somebody. That's funny as hell. That's funny. Okay, what's your social media? How can people tap in with you? Social media, email, in case they want to features, bookings, all that.
I'm gonna get the biggest flex right now. Just Google Atticus Lane, and it's gonna be like this guy makes music, and this is his little bio. And here's all his streaming and all his socials, and that's
Googleable. Googleable.
nah, it's just at Atticus Lane at everything, and I'm not the flex again, but I'm usually like the first thing that comes up.
And go ahead and just spell your name, just so they.
Atticus space Lane. So Atticus, like Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. We all were in middle school at one point. And then lane as in stay in your lane.
Any last words before we get out of here?
Dear God, just be safe and take care of yourself and wear a mask, and have a little bit to eat, and if you partake in the alcohol, have a little bit to drink on Christmas Eve. just try to find something little to enjoy. You know, watch The Office before it leaves Netflix at the end of this month. Just finish that one more time. Jim and Pam need you to watch that one more time. Just find something to enjoy, because we're on the horizon. We're going to get back to a new normal, but we're going to be playing shows again. We're all going to be seeing each other. We're going to be able to hug and kiss and swipe right and not feel weird about going over to their house that night. So just have a good time and enjoy yourself. That's all.
There you have it. Atticus Lane, Mouthin out. I'm Adrian Nyce. Please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like, share, comment, subscribe once again. Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you for coming, my friend. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Ah!